So turned it on and off again.
No, that's my job.
Yeah, but this is where it's changing. So everything wasn't on the cloud.
No.
Even when I got this 11 Pro, it was a little bit cloudy, and people were people were using.
Sorry, a little bit iCloudy.
Yeah, the blue-green gap.
Absolutely.
What is this blue-green gap? What is this blue-green gap? For those that don't know what the blue-green gap,
Careful.
blue-green gap is.
Good morning and welcome back to 107th episode of Tech a Break. After a 2-week hiatus, my friend,
We went missing.
we went missing in action. But now
We're back.
We're back. We're back on track.
We went back to the
No,
we're just
no.
back. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
We had 2 weeks of madness is what
2
I'd
weeks
say.
of madness, and God bless, I had lined people up on the Teams, which is what I said on episode 105. And then God bless, both of those people had little emergencies that cancelled at the last minute. So I was like, right, okay.
Which is fair enough.
It's fair enough. These things happen in business and in life.
They do, and I've been
Missing in action.
yeah, I've been to Peterlee, for those that don't know. It's kind of towards Sunderland.
Yes.
Twice this week.
Twice?
Yeah.
Did you forget something?
No. I drove all the way there, and it was to photograph and install for a company that do structures. Worked for them before, fantastic company. And it was all set to go. The delivery hadn't arrived. It was due to arrive that morning,
Dope.
and it still hadn't arrived for the installers. So we're in a tricky position. So I was like, right. It arrived actually 20 minutes after I got there. And it wasn't like they then needed to do all the work to get it ready. So I looked at the diary. I was like, right, I'll come back tomorrow to do that. So I managed to do that, and they have said that they'll pay the extra mileage and this, that, and the other, which is good. Yes, because obviously they want a set of images. But I went back the next day, great set of images, sun was shining, it was great.
Fantastic, my friend. Well done, you.
So that was that. And then I spent 2 days in Leeds last week.
Lovely Leeds.
And then I was up near Peterlee again last Friday, filming in a school. Not quite Peterlee, but near Peterlee. So I was up there again last Friday.
Goodness me, you have been on your travels.
Yeah, and then it was school video the Friday before.
Yes, it was.
Alina, that school video, it was on Look North. Some of it was on Look North because one of the dancers has got a prize. It was on the news the other night.
Very good.
So there we go. Footage that I've shot and Alina's editing was on the regional news.
Very, very good.
Yeah, but we've just had lots of media jobs in. The Leeds thing was with fabulous Wobbly Hobbly Nick, as he called him when he had his bad Achilles.
Exactly.
Motif Convention, fantastic event. Had to interview Chris Boardman. Dame Sarah Story, Ed Clancy.
My goodness me. I'm not worthy.
Yeah, like cycling royalty in many ways. And then there was loads of people, like Emily Cherry from the Bikeability Trust. Like they're all doing just the most incredible work. And it was fantastic to interview them, film them, hear their take on what they're doing in travel and transport and everything else. It was fantastic.
That's fantastic.
So that's where I've been. I've been completely AWOL. So hi. Nice I actually came in first thing Monday morning straight to your office, didn't I?
You did. And we were out last night.
Were you?
We were. We were at the, just reading my notes, the County Durham Together Awards by the Northern Echo 2025.
Brilliant. Where was it?
It was at Hardwick Hall.
Lovely.
And we were very privileged to sponsor one of the awards, the Young Person of the Year award. I got off the stage and presented.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, a young lad, 11 years old, Declan Towell. He won it. He was very, very humbling, doing a lot of charity work. Honestly, there was a few wet eyes in the arena. Lots and lots. But what a fabulous evening! Thank you to the Northern Echo and the Hardwick Hall.
I've seen I always see the press shoots afterward. It always looks so good.
So tomorrow I have to nip out to the newsagent. There is in the Northern Echo a colour supplement with all of the winners and awards. So very, very hopefully I'll get to see my photo in there.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
So that's very good, my friend.
That's
very
brilliant.
Good. And
we have paper.
3 sheets of it.
I know, each. Right, so today...
This is what triggered you on Monday.
Well, it is triggering me because... And it kind of... Oh, it gets deep.
Oh, yes.
kind of fits nicely with the time of year, December at the time of recording. So I was talking about my phone's getting to the point where, so I buy a top, I need to suss out your phone too. I buy a top spec phone.
Yeah.
At the time.
Definitely.
So I got the iPhone 11 Pro.
Very nice phone it is too.
Yeah. When it came out. So people on here immediately gone, what? Like you just said top spec. No. When it came out, it was the highest version. And then I basically run it into the ground. I've done it with my equipment and gear. And I do that because it's an investment at the time. And actually, there's still, in many ways, it's still going strong. However, do you know my job the other week that I said?
Yes.
So I was driving up to concert to do a filming job, and I opened my sat-nav map of choice, and I had the dot on the map.
Yes.
With no map. Or directions. But it was tracking me in a space. So I was like, right, that's the problem. So then I loaded the other fallback navigation app of choice. Same thing happened.
Oh dear.
And I've got data before people start saying that. And then I went to the third navigation app of choice. Same thing happened.
Oh dear.
So restart, turned it on and off again.
No, that's my job.
Yeah. Well, you weren't there, so I had to do it myself.
Okay.
Turned it on and off again. Same thing happened.
Cache, memory.
God knows.
God knows.
Did it one more time.
Yeah.
It then seemed to start working.
Yeah.
Obviously, I pulled over to do that.
Well, of course, because you're a safe general person.
Yes.
Safety first.
And at times, this phone, whilst it's been a loyal servant, it's just starting to creak a bit. and the other issue is you buy a good storage amount at the start.
Yeah.
But what I've found is the size of apps have naturally grown with. So the storage that's available now on phones is a lot higher than what was available here. And that means also, I'd just like to think, do you know what do they call it? Like project creep, where it just fills the time that you have. It's almost like apps are filling the space that you have, and apps are getting bigger because they have to do more. There's more processing power.
And the iOS upgrades take more, and with new features like the Apple HEICS, high quality image thing.
Yes, that one.
Massive
those
phones.
images, So
it's beginning to creak a little, sir.
I think we're getting to the point. But then this is where I talk to you on Monday, because you have got a flip Android phone.
I basically got an Android phone.
Is it a Samsung one?
It's a Samsung 5, sorry. Samsung 5.
Not sponsored, but Samsung if you want to. It's got flip. It does double screeny job and all this sort of stuff. But I'm an iPhone user, Andy.
I know you are. And you also use Macs.
I do, but I also use Windows.
And that is what triggered me to pull this together.
Yeah. So what I would say from the get-go, cameras, I use Sony cameras like for my thing. I have an iPad on the table.
Yeah.
I have some AirPods in my pocket. Okay.
Oh, did they recover from the washing?
Yeah, they did. These have been through the washing machine. Yeah, they do. Yeah. So I've got AirPods in my pocket. I've got an iPhone there. I've got a Mac next door, but I've also got a Windows editing rig, and I've also got a Windows laptop as well.
Yeah, so fairly good across the range.
So I don't mind changing. And the reason why I don't mind changing, we talked about it by Teams. I've got Microsoft Teams, which obviously you support, and all I need to do is log into my apps. And we are seeing it now where originally before the apps and I suppose the subscription service model really established, you kind of did lock yourself into a thing. But now if you're with Google, you just log into your Google stuff and download the Google apps. If it's Microsoft apps. It just depends what it is. Spotify, you just download Spotify. Like you don't need it to be Apple or Android. They've sorted that bit out for you. So I'm at a point where I'm going, should I look at Android?
The question for me, my friend, and this is what we were chatting about on Monday, is you love your Macs. I think they're wonderful. I think they're really good. But from our point of view and from a business point of view, if you compare the price, of an Apple MacBook to a Windows laptop, it's a bit different.
Yeah, so Apple, be nice to me, please.
Yeah.
Because I do like your products.
It's
I really enjoy
nice.
your products.
Yeah.
However, I was benchmarking the cost of a machine the other day.
Yeah.
And like for like, it was significantly more expensive.
From a business point of view, my friend, it is, for a business, it's a big hike.
Yeah. What I will say, in fairness and in a bit of balance, because I was looking, Sony announced a new camera the other day.
Right.
So I was looking at what that is. And it was £3,000 for the camera body.
Right.
That camera body, when they were announcing new cameras how many years ago, it was like £2,000 quite often, typically. So I do think we've seen a shift in what those price things are, and that's a reflection of probably the last 5 years.
Yeah,
I
think
I'd
so.
say. But looking at that benchmark, and you're always going to have inflation and this, that, and the other. But I feel that in the last year of tech releases and looking at products, actually, I got a bike. I got a new bike over the summer.
Right, okay.
And even that had jumped. So I'd say I'd paid a few £100s more than I would have paid a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay, I get that. But then when you actually looked at the components that were on the physical bike, they were a tier that were below that original bike purchase, if that makes sense. Yeah, so you've got different types of gear sets and this, that, and the other. So the standard of gear set I bought on that £400 more bike was less than what was on the 700 versus £1,100.
Yeah.
So on the £700, I got Tiagra gears, reasonable gear set. On this, it's Shimano Sora, which is like the entry level.
Right.
It's fine for me.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that price creep has definitely done it. So that makes me go, what am I going to do? What am I going to buy? What am I thinking? And I'm sure, and this is why we're talking about it today, those on this podcast, are you an Android user or are you an iPhone user? Have you changed? And if you haven't changed, I think a lot of people, the lion's share of people, have chosen their ecosystem and stayed on it.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, you're on Android. Have you ever used iPhone?
Yes, when they very, 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 very first came out. So I was an Apple user. I loved it. Thought it was very innovative. That's easy for me to say.
Put your teeth in.
They were quite good. They broke the mold. They broke the mold in terms of,
they did.
Huge impact. But working in the industry that I was working in, first of all, I like to diversify. I also jumped after the first couple of years and I went to Microsoft Windows phones, if you remember them.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you think about it from my role in my business, whilst Apple was very good, when it came to business, it was a little bit harder for me because Apple do lock you in their ecosphere, which is fine.
Yeah.
I've got no problems with that. But certainly when I speak to any other person in my industry, in my IT industry, and you ask them whether they enjoy managing from a business point of view, Apple or Android, it's normally Android every time. Because Apple, for whatever reason, maybe they think it's security, maybe they other thing, it is very difficult. You've got to jump through a multitude of...
Is this as you as an IT provider putting the safeties in place?
100%. So if I wanted to MDM this phone, mobile device management...
Okay. So this is where you look after it.
I look after it. You can't install any apps on it. You can't do anything to it, but I manage it from you as a business point of view. And that makes a lot of sense for business users because it's both secure. You don't, bless Adam Walker doesn't put his iTunes account details in. He doesn't leave when you leave the business. You don't give the PIN number back, and therefore the phone's locked out. When you reset the phone, I've got to have your original iTunes Apple account. So there's lots of reason from a secure point of view and a longevity and reutilization of the phone for users why MDM is a really good option.
So that's easier with Android?
100% easier with Android. I scan one QR code on my software, couple of taps, I'm in. With Apple, I've got to contact Apple. I've got to register your company. I've got to do it on your behalf, and then Apple phone you in order to confirm that I'm allowed to do that. I've got to get your business, I can't remember the name, Bradsheet.
Oh, yeah,
Bradshaw something. I've got to get your business number. So it's really quite difficult. I understand why Apple do that, but from my point of view, in terms of, Andy, please, here's a phone, MDM it. If it's Android, normally within about an hour or so, I'm going, there you go. With Apple, I'm like, right, I've got to register your company. They'll take 24, 36, 72 hours to get back to you. Oddly enough, with Mode Shift, we went through a right hassle with their company. For some reason, the Apple wouldn't do it. We ended up speaking to Apple support and then going, yeah, we need to get authentication from Nick, oddly enough. And they wouldn't accept that neither.
Right.
They had to go to the next level up because that lady was the one that registered the company to Apple, not Nick. So it was a real heartache for us. But I think going back to what this whole episode's about, they were locked into the Apple. Everybody likes the Apple because that's what they've got from a home point of view. And I must admit, I think people enjoy the Apple from a home point of view better than a business point of view.
Yep. So there is a differentiator here between personal use and business use.
100%.
Obviously, a lot of you listening and a lot of the people that say that they listen.
All 5 of them
that don't. Yeah, they might not run a bit. Some of them don't run a business, for example. No, Mark has been going actually the last 2 weeks. Where's the episodes? So hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. We not Mark.
Ooh, yeah. Beep, so pop. Sorry.
Yes.
So yeah, that was Teams. Teams pinging my iPad and my phone. So it all works. It all works
at the same time.
And I've turned notifications off on my smartwatch, and it would have gone. That's a Garmin smartwatch, not Apple. Okay, so. You've written here, the feel of being all in.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think I know what we're referring to. Is this me talking about my music and all this sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, though. From a personal point of view, you were chatting to me on Monday and going, I love my Apples at home. I love my Apple iMac at home. I love your iPods at home. It really just helps you. When you upgrade to a new system, it is fairly easy, as it is with Android. So I wanted to challenge you in terms of look at it from a home point of view, please, Adam, and how easy it would be to upgrade your Apple iPhone to the next level. But then, as a business owner, take a step back and rethink.
Yeah, so to upgrade to the next iPhone, no issue.
No issue.
Absolutely no issue. It's seamless. Yep. Log in, put some login details in, but it'll pull my iCloud data over and I can do that. The issue, so tonight I am DJing.
Ah, well done.
Christmas parties.
Ooh, lovely.
The first one of 4 starts tonight.
Have you been Whamageddon yet?
Not yet.
I have.
Did I?
Got
yes, I think I have.
Heard it.
So, I've got my music app open here.
Oh.
On my iPad. Okay. Now, some of the music I get from iTunes.
Right.
Some of the music I get from DJ pools. A lot of it is iTunes, basically. So part of the battle I have is, obviously, if I go onto an Android device, I haven't asked the question, can you actually install iTunes or Apple Music to an Android device? That's the question.
That's a good question.
And the reason why I talk about it's not all of these songs are downloaded here to my iPad. They are just, it's like
subscribed.
a Spotify. Yeah, it becomes like a Spotify. So I own the song, or I have the song, and I have a digital copy of the song, and I've got it on my computer, and then that is put onto a USB stick, and then that goes into my decks. So I have that. The question, I've then got all that music available to me here, but then I immediately undid myself by going, but I've also backed up my music to my Plex server. So Plex it's like your home. Think of it as like a home Netflix or Spotify. So if you had digital movies, they can go into their legally obtained, of course. If you've got music, you could put your legally obtained, of course. You could put your music in there, and then you can access your server to your music. But it's like accessing through an app, basically.
100%, and that's easily done.
Yeah.
And I've got a Plex server at home, and I do exactly the same. We often nip out to CEX or other well-known second-hand shops, and we buy movies, and then I will rip them because I legally own them, and I rip them to the Plex server because it's easier. When you sat there on an evening saying, I want to watch a movie, it's much easier to go to your Plex server, choose the film and go, instead of, I'll go and grab the DVD. Pop it in, etc.
So there's that element to it. So I was like, okay, well, I can immediately get around that. And then it was like our family calendars, because we do have family calendars. but we've both got Gmail accounts.
Just to...
And I used to use Google Calendar for my work.
Yes, you did.
I used to when I first started. I'm like, well, that can just... I know how that works. I can sync all that up.
Yeah.
So I think in some regard, I've kind of like thrown obstacles in my way to like avoid me.
But I would like to say you've thrown obstacles in the way, not by your own choice, but just purely because iTunes, you've registered the music, it's yours, but it's not downloaded. I've physically done a quick Google. No, you can't install the iTunes application on Android, but you can get your music.
Expect.
Yeah, which you can get your music onto an Android phone by manually copying files using third-party software.
Yeah, so I've got all the files. Yeah, I've got all of the files.
Well, you paid for them.
Yeah, so I download them. I just don't download them to my device because, as you can imagine, my library would be filling my phone.
Filling your phone.
So yeah, I'm a bit locked in terms of my music's there. It's then like, well, what do I want to purchase in the future? I'm like, well, I still can access iTunes on my laptop.
Yeah.
My Windows laptop, and my
Mac.
My Mac, and it would sync. So it's just I wouldn't necessarily have those tracks there. But I also use Spotify. So I'm like, well, how much do I listen to my music? How much do I listen to this? So there is a bit of a question mark around whether I do that, and it's just I'd have to operate things differently. So I do feel a little bit locked in. Notes, I love the Notes app.
Yep.
Does your Notes app, this is a question I've got. Android will have Notes.
Yeah, there's my Notes.
Does it sync?
Yep. So if I log on to my iCloud, if I log on to my laptop on my Windows device and log into Samsung, all my notes sync. When I transfer them, they all sync. But again, it's not so much the fact that I'm using an app such as Notes. So the other thing that is, whilst this has got Notes, the Samsung Notes, I use OneNote, which is Microsoft, and therefore synced everywhere.
So I should use OneNote.
So again, in terms of your notes, whatever, but I've only been driven by that because I get asked by my customers how to do it. So I look for an in-between app, and OneNote would sit in between your iPad, iPhone, my Android, and the great thing about OneNote is I could share it with you.
Right.
So again, because it's Microsoft, and we've mentioned this numerous times on the podcast about Teams, Microsoft, and to be fair, Google Workspace, they're agnostic. They don't care.
Yeah, that means they'll use any equipment.
Any equipment can use it, whether you're Mac, Linux, Windows, Android. I don't mind. It is perfect in that sense. And I genuinely believe that over the last couple of years, I've seen more of that shift. Because if you think about it, Microsoft, if they only worked on Windows devices, they would lock themselves out of Macs. Right. So because everything's on the cloud, Microsoft are going, I don't care.
But this is where it's changing. So everything wasn't on the cloud. Even when I got this 11 Pro, it was a little bit cloudy, and people were a little bit cloudy. People were using
a little bit iCloudy.
Yeah, people were using iCloud and things like this. What I mean is, the way I think COVID definitely accelerated it, for example, with Teams, because everyone was like, we should probably actually, instead of saving files on our computers or in a shared Dropbox or in a shared drive, we should actually use something like, because it does our calling as well, and we could put all the files. So that COVID kind of accelerated that, because there was a bit of a sticking point where people weren't doing that. I'm just getting a phone call.
Live on the podcast.
I'll put that on. That says do not disturb. Oh, he's on my approved list.
Get you.
Does Android do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Breakthrough.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So, and I've also the other thing is photos.
Yes.
Okay. So photos sync with iCloud. Can I move them to Google Photos?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yes, you can. But I would say, my friend, again, we're concentrating on home user, it's a faff.
Yeah.
It's an absolute faff, and we had this very conversation with a customer last week where they were saying, I'm thinking about moving to Microsoft Windows because my Apple Mac is dying. I need to get it up and running on the latest version. I've got a big event coming. What's your recommendation? We investigated for about half an hour the costs of the Apple Mac versus a Windows laptop. And as you said at the top of the episode, mate, honestly, the difference was staggering. In terms of what the Apple Mac cost as at a Windows. What it boiled down to is I listened to this customer. I absorbed everything that she told me, including the deadline, and I basically advised, and I went, I wouldn't do it. the cost extra of going to the Apple Mac will make your life so much easier. 2 reasons. Everything will seamlessly transfer. The one thing I love about Apple Macs is that, and I'm not sure whether this is a new thing, so forgive me, but we've recently had a customer upgrade from one Mac to the other. And when you fire both Macs up, the new Mac says, would you like to transfer everything from an old Mac?
Yep.
And you go, yes, I would. On the old Mac, fire this app up, tap in the password, tap in the code to make sure. And I'm not kidding, everything, including apps, automatically get installed.
See, and that's what I face.
Yes, and it was so nice. It was wonderful. So I basically advise this customer, don't do it, as in don't jump from Apple Mac to Windows, because this lady's been an Apple Mac person for most of her life, and her concern was, but I'm using a new operating system, as well as trying to get everything as well as trying to meet this deadline, and I'm going, don't do it.
I think the issue is I am equally agnostic in terms of like I'm using. I feel like, you know, I've even got that Zorin machine that's great. I love it. I know. You know, that's a Linux operating system that is, for those that don't know, open source. So a load of people make it, and it is free, and you can install it on an old computer.
Your mum's old laptop that was dying.
Mum was using an old laptop. Mum was using a laptop that wasn't the highest spec, and Teams and Windows were killing it.
Yeah.
So I wiped it and put Zorin on, and in terms of web-based applications, like you want to do stuff on web and this, in fact, it works perfectly as a machine.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Really happy with it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm messing with a bit of Linux, I'm messing with a bit of Windows, a bit of Apple, like, and then, you know, using things like Teams. I use Google all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and you think you have to in this thing. So for me, the jump isn't as night and day for that individual would be.
But from a home point of view, I think you would stick with Apple, because it's too much faff. And your average home user is not, forgive me, as technical as you.
Yeah.
Maybe not as technical as you, and wouldn't know to jump. They would just go, I just want an easy life.
So with that, though, a lot of people have just got iPhones and not necessarily got a Mac.
Very
true. So that is a different battle. So with, you know, the upgrade, obviously there's apps that you can use to transfer over. As a business, you can manage it better in terms of from your side,
mobile device
in your
management.
business.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. You've got some stats here. We'll go through these stats about Apple and Android.
Interesting. So Windows is dominant. Apple desktops share meaningful, you know, basically with macOS hovering 1/4 of the traffic. But I want to pause on that point. So again, I think we've mentioned this before, my friend. There are some apps that people may want to use in business. Sage being an obvious one. Sage Accounting. They do not do a Mac version.
Right.
They physically don't. So what people end up is, and again, I've said this before, Mac, business is growing. Oh, I need to have some accounting software. I'd like to install Sage, please. And I go, you can't. You've got an Apple Mac.
Well, allow you to.
Well, what do I do?
That used to be a bigger issue, though, didn't it? I remember back in the day, because you used to have to, still now, you to go, do I download the Windows version or the Mac version?
Yeah.
Originally, everyone's made the Mac versions now in the lion's share of cases. But originally, the part of the barrier was you couldn't download certain versions. Mac users couldn't do something called Flash. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I know this because my family members used to have a Mac, and it'd be like, we can't play this little animation
that you've done, because there's no flash
on the
no flash player. So that is becoming better, but from Sage's point of view, and that's why we're linking into these stats. If you have a look from a global desktop point of view, Windows dominates it.
Yeah, so this is computers.
So from computers' point of view, Windows machines dominate the global desktop world at 70%. Mac, 15% only.
Right, the mobile stuff.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
It does, doesn't it? UK is apparently more.
Yes, iOS. So Android has got 70%-ish market share, and Apple 30%. That's globally.
Yes.
Which I'm like, what? And then you like actually go, oh, hang on, no. Because then in the UK, it's more to iOS, right? And then you're like, oh, yeah, we're not the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Which kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does. So what I know in terms of business is that if I pick a particular customer, Lucy Pittu is one of my customers, the lovely artist in Yorkshire. They've got Macs. Predominantly they've got Windows, but they've got Macs. from a graphical design point of view, you know, and obviously I can lean into you here, they believe, and I believe, I think, that Apple Macs and Adobe, they just work
Yeah, it
so
works
much
really well.
nicer.
The displays are great as well.
Yeah.
Because you also get a really good quality display.
Yeah, with the Apple Mac, yeah.
Yeah. So half the time you don't need to think about what monitor you're buying and this, that, and the other, because actually the display you get with it is this bob on.
It's spot on.
Yeah.
So they've got I think they've got 3 or 4 Macs out of a workforce that would class as maybe 5%. The rest of the users, you know, literally Windows machines, because it's easier to manage, it's easier to maintain, and it's easier to upgrade, and it's easy to understand. So this is the other point. So one of the things, I'm not sure whether it's on here because I know we're going to be jumping around, but if I ask you a scenario that if you had somebody that came into your business, or let's assume, you know, you're hiring George, if he came into your business and you were 100% Apple Mac, he would come. The most likely scenario is George is a Windows user in business, not an Apple Mac user.
Yeah, there's a learning curve.
It's not a steep learning curve. Yeah. I adapted to it quite quickly, but I know some of my customers who have gone from Windows to Mac and very quickly jumped back to Windows because I'm like, I just can't handle it. It's so different.
Well, Alina started on a MacBook
Did you really?
Pro.
Wow.
It was the one I started the business with. Alina was working on it. And then it was sort of grinding to a halt as Alina was like putting up smoke with the amount of editing she was doing. It was, she was like absolutely just turning the machine inside out. And that was an age thing. It wasn't a device thing. No, it wasn't a device thing. It was an age thing because it was what I started the business with. And in fairness, it does. Yeah. So then we got the editing rig, and that is Windows.
Yeah.
But you had to learn Mac, didn't you, Alina? Have you used Mac before you? Yeah. So she had some experience with Mac. I remember that you didn't have too much of an issue with it, but regardless, Alina was in Premiere Pro most of the time, or Photoshop, or InDesign. All of those look the same. It's just your keyboard shortcuts change a bit.
Absolutely. So there's minor differences, and that's one of the things I do want to pick up. If I chucked you in front of a Mac and you weren't a Mac user, I think your initial
there's another level.
There's another level. If I sat you in front of an Apple Mac running Adobe Pro and then sat you in front of a Windows machine running Adobe Pro, you would naturally fit. You would, file, edit, window, tools, palette, they would all be roughly in the same position. And as you say, some shortcuts are different. You know, again, one of the other things I get from my users, well, when I'm using a Mac, where's the minimize button? Why is it in full screen? Why can't I see this?
Yep.
One of the biggest things that I get from my customers is that the menu options change depending on which app you are in. So obviously when you click on Outlook, the top menu bar of Apple.
Well, a simple example of that is Adobe Premiere Pro.
Right.
So if you need to change the sound preferences, i.e. which you want it to come out of headphones or speakers, on a Mac, you click on Premiere Pro in the title bar. You then go to edit preferences.
Yeah.
On a PC, you go, file, edit. You go edit down, and you edit the preferences.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very slightly different.
Yeah, minor things, but when you're trying to do it, and you're like, I can't find the setting I need.
100%. And we cover both, I must admit, in terms of our software and in terms of our customers. But probably, I would say it's low 5-10% of people who are Mac users.
Right.
Tends to be single. 1, 2, 3 man bands.
Yeah.
Because you started your business with a Mac.
I did.
Yeah. And that's what most people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't mind using either now. But I don't on that front. I suppose to bring it back to the phone side of the thing, I suppose I'm like, all right, well, if I don't really mind using it for other things, I now understand both systems well enough that I can change and it's not an issue. I'm like, well, what about my phone? What about, because I do feel with my phone, it's like, this is the ecosystem I'm in. And I'm limited to a selection of iPhones.
Right.
If I move to Android,
yeah,
I'm no longer limited to a set of, because whilst they're Android phones, you've got a Samsung, it could be a Google, it could be a OnePlus.
It could be Hawaii or whatever they call them.
Hawaii? Huawei. Hawaii. Honor is another one. Yeah, there's loads of different... there's loads of different sort of phones that you can use. Sony have done a really good camera phone.
They have, absolutely.
And you've got a load of things to do that. Obviously, you've got different versions of Android and different things. But I'm quite interested to know of, who is listening. Have they ever been across both, or are they just always been locked in Android?
One of the interesting things is when the Apple very, very first came out, we both myself and Michelle jumped from that to the Apple system. When Windows brought their phones out, I jumped to that because, again, I'm constantly a person who's not, if you like, afraid to try something new.
I think you need to, don't you?
Plus, in my industry, I need to.
Yeah,
because I am naturally going to come across somebody that says, well, I've got a Pixel phone, I've got an Apple phone, I've got a Windows phone, I've got an Android phone, I've got a Linux, blah, blah, blah. So I have to. So I jumped to the Windows phone. I think Microsoft made a really good effort at it, but unfortunately couldn't maintain the competition between Apple and Samsung. And then I jumped to a Samsung phone. And I've then been Samsung throughout the rest of my life. What's interesting is Michelle stuck with Apple for a long time after that because, again, it was easy for her to use. She wasn't really in the business at that point. And then eventually the Apple phone came up for renewal and we sat down and she looked at my phone and used my phone for a full couple of hours and decided to give it a go. And then after about 3 or 4 months, she went, I'm never going back to Apple.
Yeah.
Because she finds this system so much easier to use. And in terms of our business, IT now, specifically Resilient, it's easy for her to utilize the phone with her Windows machine and not an Apple and Apple Mac.
Yep.
So that was a big difference for her.
Yeah. So the good things that Apple, and this is an interest. Have you seen this about Google Pixel 10s?
Yes.
So AirDrop. Mm-hmm. So for those that don't know, and this is where, in many ways, I already had an iPhone when I launched the business. And bearing in mind, I'm taking media on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't using Teams when I set up. So it's like, where do I chuck the phone? I could easily just AirDrop it to my Mac and then I can use that was such a good feature.
Such a brilliant feature.
But Google 10 phones, Pixel 10s, have implemented, they can do AirDrop.
Similar thing with AirDrop.
Yeah, but they could jump onto AirDrop now. Yeah. Which is a game changer.
I think it is as well, because again, Google have decided agnostically, let's move, I don't care.
The question, though, is, and this is a question that's been asked on the internet, are Apple going to try and patch that out so they can't integrate? Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But that was the other one. And then the other thing that you've done, and I'm glad you've put this on, the blue-green gap.
Absolutely.
What is this blue-green gap? What is this blue-green gap? For those that don't know what the blue-green gap
careful.
Blue-green gap is. I'm just looking at my phone now. So what is that? That is...
So there's mine.
So you're blue.
Yeah.
So my phone, so the person who just phoned me, I did a can I call you later? He said text back, they're green.
Agreed. Blue-green gap.
If I go on my message to my wife,
blue.
They're blue.
Yeah.
Why is one and why is one the other?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the tech expert.
Right. So wait a minute. So the green is, and this is what I've never understood actually. So maybe you can answer this. It says text message, RCS.
Yeah. Rich Communication Information Service, I believe.
Right. So that's just text message.
Yeah.
Which I knew it was just text message because it says text message.
Yeah.
And the one to my wife, it says iMessage.
Yes.
And they're the ones that are in blue.
Yes.
So what Apple were very good with is getting iMessage in place. So when I communicate to my wife, in this case, it doesn't actually touch the cellular network. It goes over via data.
Yeah.
Whereas when my mate there texts me and I text him back, that is sending a text message in the old school. Now, back in the day...
we old people.
Before Alina might know or not, did you ever have a mobile phone package that was so many text messages a month? Oh, good. She is old enough for that. That reassures me. So what bowled me ages ago was when I got the SIM deal. I was like, unlimited text, unlimited calls. Oh, but the data's limited.
Yeah.
So originally it used to be so many text messages and so many minutes. Was your allowance.
Yeah.
Now, you'll generally find it's unlimited in my experience, but it's the data that's the issue. So obviously, when you send an iMessage, you're sending it over the data network, and when you send an RCS or a text message, you're sending it over the mobile cellular network. The reason and the difference, iMessage is encrypted, so end-to-end, but you could also just go, if anyone's thinking, what about WhatsApp? Well, this is what WhatsApp is.
Yeah,
it's a direct messaging platform.
Yeah.
So although there's a bit of an argument for Blue Gap and Green Gap, if you're using WhatsApp, it's kind of irrelevant.
It is relevant now. One of the things that's nice as well is that I think the Apple had this first when you were iMessaging. Is that when you did that, could you see the tick when your wife had seen the message?
Yeah.
And could you see when your wife was typing back to you, like the little dots? Whereas now that's in the Android, it's in text messages.
Right, okay.
So I can see when Michelle's typing back to me.
So they're obviously now putting that on the data network,
rich communication, absolutely. But that is one of the big things as well in terms of migrating your phones. It is like, I want all my chat history. I want all my things. We've discussed this before. It seems that a lot of businesses are using WhatsApp. Sorry, I went.
Some people are. Some people do.
I've got a big problem with this.
No, some people do. All I say to clients, because I've had the question asked, and I'm like, the more, because bearing in mind let's say we're doing Facebook, so they're going to hit you up on Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
Just like WhatsApp in terms of messaging platform. As a client, customer client type thing. If you're on Instagram, they're going to DM you. If you're on LinkedIn, they're going to message you a page inbox. If you're on Twitter, you might get a so I'm like, the more doors you open, the more you've got to look at in service.
Your lighthouse scenario.
Yeah. Like how many messages?
Suddenly got to go WhatsApp, iMessenger, Facebook, Instagram, X. It's terrible in terms of that.
For some people, like servicing businesses such as hairdressers and things like that, and if they're a sole trader, might work really well.
I think it does. It honestly does work quite well because it's easy. Their clientele are likely to be end customers, like consumer, the public.
Yep.
Whereas people like you and me, we tend to deal with businesses. If that's, I'm not being disrespectful there, but it works better for us.
The other one you can do is you can set up a group on WhatsApp now that is for the business.
Yes.
And you can use it as a notice board.
No, absolutely.
But I've been added to one several times over, and every time I get added, I remove myself because I get so many, there we go, just rugby related, 26 messages.
Yeah.
Let's see when the first one. Yep. Since 4 minutes to 9 this morning, 26 messages in the rugby WhatsApp group. We do get
some people.
I mute all my notifications.
But I do get some of my friends and business colleagues. They do what you do. They just go, I can't keep up. I am bombarded by Teams messages, emails, WhatsApp messages, texts.
I was actually saying that, in fairness. I was at training last night. I love my rugby. It's brilliant.
Of course you do.
I get more messages because I coach as well. I get more messages about rugby than actually anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but one of my issues in terms of from a security point of view, and again, so do you use? You probably use WhatsApp a lot more than I do.
Just for messaging, not from a business other than messaging someone. How's it going?
But from a business point of view, as I understand,
not as a formal business channel.
If you put something into the WhatsApp group, let's say it's a business one, and I believe I'm speaking from experience because this is what my customers told me. We'll do a scenario. You and me are in business together in our rare bookshop, our fictional rare bookshop. We're sending lots of what would be classed as business confidential information. Meaning you have a fallout. I remove you from the group, I believe you still have access to all historical information.
You can set privacy settings now that auto-delete after so many days. But it can be screen grabbed and taken.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. So that's the problem that I've got because I can't vet it. Whereas Teams, I can just go, nope, I've logged you out. I can force you out of the app and you cannot get back in.
Well, at the start of this, Adam's asked a question on Teams.
Yeah.
And I've replied to him on Teams. So, there's a time where, the other week, I was out, I took a selfie of when I was doing the video of the presentations,
right, okay.
and I just WhatsApped it to Adam and his work phone because I know that he's logged into the account.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I won't be talking. You know, we've in fairness, it's a really good point because in fairness, we do have client WhatsApp groups where they might be out there, and I don't mean like we're working with them. We're all pulling the same, and it'll be a quick question like, "What is this?" And it's because they don't have Teams.
No, absolutely.
And it's easily available.
Yeah.
What we're not doing is putting contract arrangements and things like that. It is like it's a more of a notice board and quick discussion.
Absolutely right, mate.
And the moment people have tried, and it has happened, people try booking us in to go and do a shoot via WhatsApp. I've got a policy where I'm like, at that point, it goes on email.
Yeah.
So can you do this? Right, we need to take this onto email.
Yeah.
And then we look at that, and then it's the formal arrangements.
I know, but that's a trail auditable.
Yeah.
You know,
something having a group for the lighter stuff, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to kind of.
So
set
the other
those
thing
boundaries.
about the other thing about your WhatsApp group, then, you know, obviously about rugby, is you're echoing what a lot of my friends saying. Is that, you know, how many people, may I ask, are in the rugby WhatsApp group?
A lot.
A lot of people.
100.
Wow, so quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you hadn't turned off your notifications, it would go mad. And you would spend half your time catching up to somebody that's replied, lolled, liked. It's madness.
It's actually the opposite problem now because those 26 messages came in the space of 24 minutes.
Right.
I'm not going to read any of them.
I know you're not.
Because... Well, I'll scroll. If anyone's tagged me, I'll scroll to see if I'm tagged. And it's just people organising. Well, just to pull out a few things. One person's written, Rick Astley, Crimbo jumper.
Well, there you go. That's to do with rugby then.
No stranger to love, ? Talking about songs.
Yeah.
So,
not rugby related, really.
Yeah, but that's sometimes a problem because I get so many messages and sometimes they're not always for me. In the coaches group, it could just be for a certain team. But it needs
absolutely.
To be communicated, so.
But that's why we like and try to push our customers towards Teams. And as you know, Adam, within Teams, you could be in a Teams group with Alina, Adam and yourself. And if that's specifically about a customer, you can tag things. You could go back into the Teams group and say, hi guys, finish my edit shoot at Alina. Please now edit for me. That's a tag, that's comfort, and it doesn't need to be an email because it's an instruction and Alina's been tagged in it. Alina could then finish that editing and going at Adam Walker, right, done that, I've passed over to
and that keeps it in the ecosystem.
Of course it does, and that's what I'm getting at. It keeps it within the ecosystem.
The good news though, because obviously WhatsApp and Teams, they're both apps that you can log into.
And on the Mac,
and on the Mac, and on
the
your
Windows.
PC.
Absolutely, it makes no difference.
Okay,
we've seen, and you've mentioned earlier in this podcast, I think owners of owners of applications, like you've just mentioned with Google, and can get into the drop system. They're now going, how can I position myself to users that I actually don't mind whether they're on Android or Apple or Linux? Because they've obviously opened up their market. If WhatsApp was only available on Apple, then they've limited themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the whole reason why.
And it's making sure that, and equally, the providers want to be. You need to embrace the wider app so that you can all be in the same place and you can all engage. But I don't know. We end up in this interesting thing where people, I think, are just locked. This is what I've always done. The question is will I be changing? I'm quite tempted because I'm like, well, I can always change back if I have to.
If you have to. Now, obviously, in terms of your business, may I ask again, is this a business contract phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd lock yourself in for a while, but you have to do it. So taking my own company, again, one of the things that Dan did, he said, can I jump to being a Google Pixel? And you asked that very question, didn't you? Because you were talking about this, and I went, Dan's gone Google Pixel. And you asked the question, he went, what? He went, fantastic camera, fantastic in terms of what it can do, just not pretty enough. Because he came from Android.
Yeah, that was for him.
And he went to Pixel. Yeah, so he's had a Pixel business phone for 2 years now, and he's basically said, next time it's up for renewal, can I go back to Android, please? But that's fine. He tried it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to try it neither. So I would love for you to jump in terms of Apple to Samsung to try it, but then, another great episode of the podcast is it didn't work for me, or actually it's worked fantastically.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting thing, and I think it's important. I think a lot of people think it. I think a lot of people, I just want choice, I suppose. I think that maybe this is a bigger issue about, I just want to have choice.
Yeah.
But the problem is I'm kind of locked into an ecosystem, possibly.
Yeah.
I think I've worked out the kinks on how I wouldn't be. I then also realise that to be outside of that ecosystem, like the other reason why I do it is my kids are getting to an age, not now, right now, but phones will be a thing.
Daddy.
Great.
Can I have the latest iPhone 74, please?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
£2,500.
And it makes me go, I'm because and there's a lot of chatter out there. I don't know what the data is, but I know for a fact if you're an Apple household, the chances are you're going to give your child an Apple phone 100%. Because you need to do all the parental management.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of a fitting time to explore the Android route, and I can do that through my work, right?
Yeah,
so like I can, like as a wider piece, but also I'm looking at the apps I'm using and I'm going, well, I'm actually quite neutral in terms of from a work standpoint what I can use. But then I'm like questioning whether I should look at that and whether I should do it. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And we're potentially going to, a lot of people, if they've got Apple phones, they will then get an Apple phone to then put the parental controls in place.
Correct. Yeah. So question from me to you is, regardless of where you go, so whether you upgrade to your next Apple iPhone or whether you make the jump, what will you do with your old phone? How will it be repurposed, if any? Will you pass it down?
Well, yeah, it'll be repurposed and reused. I mean, the thing is, we always need things logged into accounts.
Yes.
So even like just being in the office and being used still is a valid thing.
WhatsApp, whatever.
Yeah.
So it could be a work.
So it could be
mobile roaming phone,
and it is that ultimately, and like my iPod's got some accounts on it. That's got some, and we coordinate that way. We've got work devices that are logged in various places because you can only have so many Instagram accounts logged into.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whilst we've got all the management software in the world, it's sometimes not as good as just being on the app. So
correct.
We look at our devices and we make sure that we've got that coverage so we can go into the apps if we need to. So it's not that it'll go in the bin.
Nope.
Or WeCode.
Yes, thank you.
Because it's still got lots of life.
Yeah,
in
of course it has.
Yeah.
Of course it has.
It's just I'm struggling when I'm trying to get to a client job and my map won't load. I'm a bit in a mess. So, yeah, I think some of the things there are really important to look at in terms of, like, I suppose you don't need to feel like you're completely locked in.
No.
I'm equally like, maybe I should do it as a bit of an experiment as well. And not that I'm experimenting with my business, but it's more like...
I think it's interesting.
I actually think now I'm using that many apps. The notes thing is what I use massively. Obviously, photos are the other thing, but I can move those and deal with those. So I'd have to look at that.
Well, here's the other thing. If you did jump, would you go for something like a flip? Because next year, Samsung have released a trifold.
Three flips.
3 flips, and it's basically going to end up being a 10-inch phone. I will be able to do that and flip it out another, and it'll be this big.
Your experience of the flip?
I would never go back to something else. I think it's...
Could you pull up a browser for me? Because this is the other thing, right? You're making you're making a decision that... I'm loading a website and multitasking badly. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just browsing on a web browser. Yeah, see, it does look good, doesn't it? This is where I find out if my website's optimized for a flip phone.
And it is.
And it is. So there we go. Yeah.
But it looks wonderful, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And yeah. So the problem is you're making these purchases, aren't you? And they're a commitment. So if it's contract, it's a significant commitment for... Yeah,
I'm in a 2-year contract with that. It's up next year.
Or if you buy the device, which I did with that, by the way. I bought the device and I've got a SIM-only deal. I've
got a lot of friends that do that because then they can just jump. Makes no difference. They're not locked in.
So that's the advantage of my current scenario because I can literally just pull my SIM card out and move across that way. I know I've got all the contacts and stuff on, but yeah.
But
So but this is the problem. I think this is what we're facing. Why I want to talk about it is buying, you know, the phone is a really important part of my daily business, as it is everyone's daily life.
Yeah.
But obviously we use it for those things.
But also, if I may, one of the things that if you're looking at this, and obviously I trust you, you look in terms of when I'm reading my emails on a full screen, better. And when you reply to things.
Yep.
You know, it much better in terms of replying on this particular type of flip phone instead of
dealing with a half screen. And I can see myself enjoying that very easily.
So from a business point of view, I actually think this is much better for me. From a personal point of view, because as a business owner, this is my business phone and my work phone.
Yeah.
My business phone and my personal phone. So obviously I do get downtime. And again, if you don't mind me...
Other than the rugby WhatsApp, pretty much everything else in my life is working.
Yeah, but that's a game that I'm now currently playing. I'm keeping it hidden from the camera.
Yeah.
But you look in terms of how...
In all of that free time you have.
In all that free time you have. But if you have a look in terms of how nice that looks...
Yeah, it's quite cool, actually.
You know, in terms of big screen, big playing games.
But this is the challenge we face, because it's like, well, you've got to commit and give it a go. I'm tempted to look at Flip.
Yeah.
Whether I just stick with a standard traditional, I don't know. But I need to think about that. But yeah, I think it was just an important thing to discuss today. I mean, we've talked about it with business as well in terms of how that does that. I think having that freedom to, you know, like right to repair has been a big thing.
It is.
For those that don't know, the idea is that tech has right to repair, and you know, like businesses should be doing right to repair. There's a scandal quite a few years ago now,
it was,
where they were found to be slowing down iPhones as they get older, and they had reasons for that, but they were like, you can't do that. It's ruled. You know, and in fairness, this has gone really well, and it is an absolute workhorse.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And what I can absolutely testify to is, I've had an iPhone 11 Pro. It's still going strong. Yes, I had the odd issue the other day, and that's partly because of capacity now and this, that, and the other. But it's had a battering, that phone, and it's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, but it makes me go, right, what is going on in the world of tech? We've got this divide. You know, they're sat like opposite each other right now. We've got this divide. You have it with Windows and Mac, and you've got Linux, and you've got loads of options out there. Bitcoin Rob, how are you? He is an open source advocate.
Yeah.
So he uses Linux on his computers, and he's an Android user, but he uses Linux. He doesn't use Windows.
Yeah.
And he only uses Windows if he has to.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
The other thing I'd like to say is that one of the things that I believe, and again, you may help me, when you copy and paste anything from here, can you automatically jump?
Yeah, I can.
Android have now introduced that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and so what I find really nice is that when I am working on something on my phone and I need to type in a long conversation, I open up my Windows machine, highlight, click, copy, and then paste it on here.
Oh, so
that's really... But that's only been recent. And that's one of the things...
that's always been there.
100%. And when I look back, I'm like, God, that is such a nice feature.
Yep.
Yeah, but bless Windows now, they've introduced the Android Link app.
Yeah, so you can do that. We have seen that.
And it's really, really good. The other thing I also like is that with the Windows Link, and again, I know you've always been able to do this on your Apple, is that my phone can sit there, and when somebody texts me, I don't have to pick up the phone. My Windows goes, Adam's texting you. I can click on it, and I can use my keyboard. I can reply to you quickly.
So
again, I know you've always had that.
Yeah.
Apple have always had that. But Android are catching up, and I think that's where we're saying. I think to summarise, I don't think you'd miss it. I'd really like you to jump, just in terms of jump. I'd really like you to jump to Android just to have this, you know,
experience. I think it's a good experiment, and I think
it will.
And what I'd say is, people go, experiment with a bit. I'm like, I'm not, because it's all app driven.
Yeah,
I can access. It'd be an experiment if I couldn't access my apps.
Yeah, and I say that from your point of view, you've got multiple considerations because your business phone is also your personal phone and your DJ.
I am questioning whether I make that change.
Now, from my point of view...
And divide the two.
From my point of view, I always keep it the same. But for every other customer, I'm obviously the opposite. I'm just like, separate them. Because what it also means is come 5 o'clock Friday night, you go.
Yeah. I am seriously weighing that up.
The downside is I get from most of my customers, I don't want to carry 2 phones around all day.
Which I understand.
Which I get.
Yeah.
I do get. But from a security business point of view, if you came to me now and asked me my advice, I'd go 2 phones. Keep work separate.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe that's an option.
Yeah, because that is a thing I've got to consider and factor in.
If you were doing it the opposite, if you grew to a point within Hubspoke and you were saying, Andrew, I need to give Alina or Adam a company mobile phone, my advice, I'd go Android. It's cheaper. You can pick up a really, really decent work Android phone for about 100 to 120 pounds. I don't even know what the entry level is for iPhones now, but it's not that. It's not 120 odd pounds.
Yeah.
You know, so the Huawei phones.
Huawei.
We get them for some of our customers, and they're absolutely brilliant workhorses for 120 quid. Job done.
Yeah.
Yeah. From a business point of view, I would say that. From your home point of view, you've got a difficult decision. When do you think you will make the decision?
Next month.
Next month in January.
In the next month. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking about it now. I've been researching.
I've been
research. Looking at different phones, kind of going, well, what do I need? It's really hard. So I've been looking at like the OnePlus 15 has come out, and that is like a powerhouse of a phone.
Brilliant phone.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh, but the camera's bad. But then I'm looking at the comparison. I'm like, they're saying the camera's bad, but they're comparing it to other cameras. And I'm like, this phone's ancient now. So this is probably terrible compared to that. And so I'm like, so do I actually need it? Is the bad still better than this? Because they are obviously doing tech reviews and reviewing it against other phones of the same era.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, well, this is years old now. So I'm like, so that camera, whilst people are saying it's bad, and I'm quoting other people, because I've looked at it and I'm actually like, it actually looks all right.
It looks really good.
Like, I think we're just pixel peaking.
But I think from every point of view, you have to take into consideration if your phone, let's say on one side you kept your phone as your business and your personal phone, you've got other things to take into account, like the camera, like the whatever. If it's a business phone, I'd be questioning you, going, why are you bothered about the camera? You know, especially in your realm where you've got proper cameras. Why are you bothered about the camera? Look at other options.
But I think on that, in my experiences, I'm seeing that people are saying it's got a bad camera, but I'm actually looking at it going, you're giving me compare and contrast. You're pixel peeping, so zooming right in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're going, the colours are off and this, that, and the other. I'm like, that's when you're comparing it to another image side by, like, it doesn't. It's that, I think, be careful with reviews.
Very much so.
In terms of do that, because it makes you question it. Because I'm looking at that OnePlus going, that looks like a very good phone.
Yeah.
With lots of resources, a RAM and memory and stuff, and that should load things quite nice. And in terms of what I want is longevity, actually, from a phone.
Yeah.
I don't need to go around going, look, I've got the latest whatever.
No.
But what I'd rather do is buy, like I said, a top spec phone, absolutely driven it into the floor, still going strong. Yeah. There are a few issues creeping in. Like when I have to update it, I've got to unload most of my apps now. Yeah. And you have to do your updates.
100% from a security point of view. I'll be on your back if you didn't.
And I do. But it's an absolute nightmare because I've got to offload so many things to try and free up the space.
To allow you to upload it.
Because I think it's 64 gig and it needs 12 gig for the update.
Absolutely.
And that's what we mean about the technology.
In comparison, though, that was an absolute brilliant phone. But as you said, as things move on, Windows, your updates nowadays, I need a massive amount of hard drive space compared 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's where we're moving to.
And, we can do that. So, no, that's been a really good discussion today. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. With only 2 to go. Episodes, I meant.
Is it?
So next Friday, whatever, I'm hopefully trying to get somebody.
Next Friday I can't do because I'm at a recital. A performance. Actually.
A performance?
A band performance thing that I need to
I'll have to see if I can get one of my people that unfortunately cancelled. See if we can redo that. But then Friday, as you say, we've got the Friday the 19th will be our last episode of 2025. And I think Aline has already said she's got some nice reels lined up for us.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, you see. So, my friend, that was a great discussion. What are you doing for the weekend apart from your DJing?
Well, I was at rugby training last night.
How was
came
it?
out, we were all ready. It was great.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got home, the team had called off.
Oh.
So there is another game, but I'm not. I've said let the young lads have a run around. I am DJing tonight and tomorrow night.
Gosh, right, okay.
And then kids rugby coaching on Sunday. So
God, it's a packed weekend for you.
yeah, it always is.
Yeah,
always
exactly,
is.
without
But
fail.
yeah, so I've just said. I don't believe I've been stuck in the WhatsApp group yet. There's another one.
Well, there's another
So,
28 messages. We need you.
I've said I'm happy just giving it a rest this week. You know,
Yeah.
I played last weekend and just letting the body rest a bit. So yeah, and then it's just really easy, really easy.
good.
What about you?
We were going out to see a potential new customer, but they've called that off, not for any particular bad reason. Just things have changed.
Just they hate you.
Yeah. That's true, Adam. But don't say it out loud on air. So no, that's pretty good. So tomorrow morning, I've got a few tiny things to catch up, but my gaming desk is now fully complete. Everything's put in place. It's looking amazingly good. I must get some photographs to you for next week.
Yeah.
But that's looking good. But the biggest thing tomorrow is about 2 o'clock or ish, just after dinner. It's the official put the decorations up.
Yes, I've got to make that decision.
Yeah, well, we do it as close as we can to the 12th of December.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but obviously on a weekend.
Yeah, on a weekend we can't do it during the week. But it's a tradition for us. So we get the mulled wine out, we start unpacking the tree, and then the best Christmas movie ever goes on, Die Hard.
Do you know?
Every year it comes out. Is it a Christmas movie?
Yeah, I'm like clocking a list of movies I need to watch.
So tomorrow it's Die Hard, Die Hard 2, Muppet Christmas Carol, Scrooged with the Bill Murray one.
You'll be there all weekend.
We do. We just love it. We just love it. All the Christmas decorations goes up. The tree gets decorated. We pause every 20 minutes or so while we're drinking the mulled wine. We've got, as you know, we've got a beautiful log burner.
Yeah.
So that gets put on low because then we can put the mulled wine on top of it and keeps it nice and warm. So that's it. So looking forward to that.
Sounds great.
That's going to be great. And then Sunday, just dinner with my dad and current favourite game, Dying Light: The Beast.
Ooh.
Which is a cracking game. I've played every series of Dying Light. I just love the parkour. I love getting scared to death when the things chase me at night.
Absolutely. Well,
there we go.
I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, good.
I feel like you've helped consolidate my mind.
Oh, good. And as I say, in the new year, when we come back, we'll pick this back up and say, right,
Yep. It's just been a bit mad. So apologies
for both of us.
Gaps in service, but
normal service has been resumed.
Yes.
I'll work out what to do next week, though.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that.
Awesome. Right.
All right, then.
Enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.